Making this show allows me to be such a globetrotter, all from my log cabin in the back garden. It's brilliant. I have gone from east to west across the United States to several counties. I've been to France, I've been to Canada, I've been to Australia, Bangkok, and even Andorra. But today I am joined by a lady who is circumnavigating the globe, all in the name of research. We held this conversation in Panama, but she was actually about to go to Costa Rica, so who knows where she's going to go next. It's my absolute pleasure and delight to include international best-selling author and coach Dawn Bates. She's on a mission in 2022 to get 1 million people writing their dream book. Now, she's also got an offer for you, so hang on till the end. Check out the show notes. We're going to make sure that you've got all of those details. But it's going to be my absolute pleasure to be making conversations about activism by pen count. What's new, Wendy Woo? Well, I've had an email from a lady that I was helping with her course. We were doing some coaching together, and of course we talk about scripts and words and frameworks and all sorts of things. But there was one tip that she came back to me to say has helped her the most. You won't be surprised when I said, do you know, it would sound so much better if you smiled when you dialed. Well, of course she chuckled, and I said, try it now. Please try it with me now. And I'm sitting up straight, my shoulders have gone back, and I think you can actually hear that my face has opened up, and I really do love what I do. Of course I am podcasting, but that's my guilty pleasure. Give it a try. See how that improves your mood and your approach and your productivity and the results that you get. I'd love to have an email from you saying that you heard that tip on the show and what difference that made. You never know, I might even give you a shout out. Dawn, Tell everybody who you are and what you do to help people. When you could stop laughing.
Hello, Wendy. How are you?
Well, we already know that we're both a little bit loony.
Turn on your weird so other weirdos find you, or turn on your witch so other witches find you. As she said, I'm Dawn. I'm also known as Ms. Mermaid. I've been called a mermaid since I was little because I was always in the water, either in the bath for hours on end or swimming in the pool or swimming in the sea or jumping in puddles. Like, I just loved the water. And it kind of stuck. And then when I came up for the series books about my travels around the world, because I'm completing a global circumnavigation of sailing and traveling by land, to research, I was like, oh, the Mermaid's Guide. That came to me as I was in the middle of cooking dinner, and I looked at my dog and went, Mermaid's Guide? Yeah, that's pretty cool. And he went, oh, tipped his head to one side. I was like, job done then. That's kind of how I come up with titles. But yeah, so I'm an author coach. I'm an international best-selling author on multiple continents with multiple books. And I have never used the 99-cent special. Yeah, she made me cry, listeners. She showed me a picture of her with one of my books. And I started crying.
I haven't I did confess I hadn't read it yet, but I will, because I've known Dawn for a good few years now, and instantly there was a connection there, and it was just great to sort of reconnect and get you on the podcast. And then when you're talking about your mermaid guides, I literally thought it was about mermaids.
No, I'm a Banksy mermaid rather than a Disney mermaid. And people even say to me, what do you mean by Banksy mermaid? I'm like, well, Banksy, like, he's a proper activist. His artwork is phenomenal. His creations are very thought-provoking, and there is really nothing Disney about me. I might be all sweetness and light and lovely to some people, but I am an activist, and I have always been an activist. And one of my great passions, other than helping other people to write their own book, whatever kind of book they want to write, that's fine. I will help them, which is one of the reasons why I developed my author academy. And I've got, the 7-week author course. I've got a 7-week author activist collaboration course. The first one is a standalone course, but the author activist one, that's a collaboration live class. I want to help as many people get their book done as possible. And I also offer a lot of author services and publishing services, because the amount of people that say they're going to write a book and they never do because they don't know how to, and trying to get in with the top 5 publishers is really difficult. I mean, one of my clients recently said to me, I really want one of the tables at the front of Waterstones. I'm like, good luck with that. Unless you are working with the top 5, that front table at the front of Waterstones will be booked out at least a year in advance. And you are going to have to pay prime positioning for that and have big distribution, which, I can help them with. Because one of the things a lot of people don't realize about working with boutique publishers and author coaches like myself is we can help you create those strategies. We can get you published, and provided you get the sales in and start making noise and getting yourself seen, instead of you chasing the top 5 come to you. And that's a very powerful position to be in, which is why we work a lot on, we're always talking with top 5 publishers. We've published to 150,000 publishing platforms my company publishes to. And we all have our own genre. Like a friend of mine, Judy, she works specifically on full-on business geeky books, which I love. I work in the activist, memoir, biographical, people that are wanting to whistleblow corporate corruption, political corruption, systemic abuse, traumas, which is a very heavy energy to hold for somebody. But the problem that you've got is not a lot of publishers want to touch those books. But for me, those books are the ones that change humanity, and it gives other people hope, and it helps people understand what's truly going on in the world. So I will hold that space for those authors on those painful journeys, because when you write a book, you heal yourself. I have this phrase that activism by pen is well thought out, but also the healing journey. When you write your story and you're writing it out, you're getting it out of yourself. I've had clients lose tons of weight because a lot of it was stored trauma and stuff that they're beating themselves up in. They comfort eat, but once they've written their book, it's gone.
That kind of caught in my throat a little bit, because one, I feel a little bit like I'm not worthy. I'm only on Amazon.
A lot of people boycott Amazon, though.
Well,
you would be surprised.
There's something that's just happened very, very recently. And who is it? Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk have been able to cut through the red tape to create a change because they can. So no matter what your thoughts are of corporate billionaires, I applaud them at this moment in time, because they've been able to move swifter than government can.
Absolutely.
Amazon was the route for me because I self-published. I had a little bit of help on the way. But oh my goodness, to think about what you were telling me about the Author Academy and the modules that go into that, it's not just about the words on the page. It's not. It's way more than that. And I think that comes back to your own story, your own journey, and how you would have wanted somebody to have gone, come on, Dawn, let's do it this way.
Honestly, I was actually, when I was recording the videos for this, I actually had a moment where something in me shifted and I felt like a different woman, because I saw myself in a very different way. Because I realized that, I first started coaching people in business over 20 years ago. And it was mainly in the realm of what it was like working with your husband, because my ex-husband and I, we used to run a business together. We didn't get divorced because we ran a business together. I just want to make that clear. And we are still good friends. We just better without being married. So I started coaching people on that, but also what was it like being a 20-year-old woman in a male-dominated environment? Can I do a speech? Can I coach this person? Can I mentor this person? I was like, yeah, all right then. She kind of fell into it and loved it and seeing the transformation. You've got to this point, and then I remember this huge financial director of this global firm based in Australia. She came to me. She goes, I need your help. I need you to help me get my book published. I was like, all right then. because I've always worked in publishing, whether it was publishing software or magazines or CDs and DVDs. I worked for newspapers. I've been a columnist for newspapers and magazines for over 20 years. And all of this came together, and every mistake that I have made, I have put in these courses to say, this is how you get around that. And I didn't have anybody. When I wrote Crossing the Line, the book that you've just held up and purchased, thank you so much. It really does mean a lot to us as authors when people buy our books, because you spend so much time alone when you're writing your book. And for some of us going through this personal journey, it can be very challenging to put your heart and soul onto a page and then have someone who's never published a book come to get, oh, well, I spotted a mistake. I wouldn't have done it like this, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you haven't even written a book. So, thank you very much for your opinion. Some of them, it's like, where you can shove that, don't you?
I've copy read for a couple of friends, actually, that have written books. Mm-hmm. And very quickly with one, in fact, previous guest, Clara, she wrote a book, and she wrote very phonetically. And whilst I was proofing it, I started and then realized that was her style. So I didn't need to. She was just writing as she would speak. So that was
She was owning her author voice.
Absolutely.
And this is what I say to people, own your voice.
Yes.
Because when you come on podcasts or when you stand on a stage and speak or you're on TV, then those who have read your book, when they then hear you speak and they see you, it's like, oh my God, that's how they sounded. I mean, I was even in a cafe in Port Douglas, and I'm sat there minding my own business and writing away. And I've ordered a coffee from the waitress and a muffin because I really needed cake. I really want cake as well at the moment. Just to let your listeners know, I really want cake. I've been in Latin America and they don't do cake here, like a Victoria sponge cake. And I really want cake. But anyway, side issue, butterfly brain. When you are sharing all of this and you are writing, say, for example, with my client, Corey, who wrote Becoming the Champion, his story, oh my God, it was so painful to me to read. But it must have been even more for him to have lived through it and to then relived it by writing it. But he has a deep South American drawl. And I was like, you have to keep that in there. Because you can't put that into Chicago English. You have to put that into deep South American. You've got to keep that. And it proved my point when I was in Port Douglas, because someone recognized my voice. And like, I'd only been in Port Douglas less than 48 hours. I knew nobody there. How did this person know me? When I was getting my visa extended for Australia, it turns out that one of the women there heard about me and knew about my books, and a friend of hers had bought my books and loved them. And the woman who I'm dealing with, she goes, oh my God, you sound just like your book. And this is the thing, when we own our author voice and we show up on stages or on podcasts or TV, people can relate to us more. It's so much easier when people go, where are you from? If they hear me speaking a few Arabic words or a few Spanish words or a few words in Portuguese, they're like, it takes them a moment and they're like, oh, you speak Arabic, or, oh, you speak Portuguese. And listen, some of my manuscript, like the one I'm writing for Digital Nomad, there are some words I'm reading it and I've got like half the sentences in 4 different languages. And it's like, yep, writing how I speak. But again, it's like when you own who you are as an author and you own your story and you show up as yourself, the impact you have in the world. And that's what I put into this book, into this courses and all of my courses. And, I've created all these PDFs to sell as bundles, like an author starter kit. Because if I'd have had all of this information 10 years ago, 15 years, oh my God.
Shh. We don't have to count by calendar year.
Yes. There's many moons ago, that many fire release rituals on a full moon. If I'd have had all of that information, my author journey, I would have saved thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. I'd have saved so much time. And that's why a lot of authors, they don't invest, or a lot of writers or people that want to write, but they don't invest in a coach. They don't invest in training. I've invested over close to $500,000 in personal development to get to where I am. And I'm giving it to people for next to nothing, really.
I think that's where our stars align in lots of ways, that training is so important. And even in my own field, picking up the phone, conversation is just as healing, which is kind of why I have part 2 of the podcast, which is tell me about that conversation that changed everything. It's because speaking it out loud or having to think and anchor on a point can be a healing process, as much for the guest as it can for the listener. Being able to go, wow, what a perspective. I don't feel so alone in how I'm feeling. We never absolutely share experiences. I don't believe we can, because we're all so unique, but you can get that resonation and that healing of talking it through to make you go, do you know what? Actually, I feel better for that. So we'll say, won't we? And there's clearly 2 things that we can do as human beings to really heal ourselves through words. And that is write a letter and put it in the fire to ourselves, which I have done a few times. Or speak to a really good friend. Yeah. Or a stranger even. Sometimes having that conversation with a stranger can be more powerful.
I know, right? And this was one of the things that when I was in New Zealand, a friend of mine, she goes, that was really weird. I was like, what was? She goes, that man, he just walked up to you and just blurted out his whole life story. I went, that happens all the time, doesn't it? And she goes, no.
Yeah, it's pretty normal.
Really? It's pretty normal to me. I don't know what you're talking about. You need to start opening up your energy. She goes, no, you need to start closing yours. But this is the thing, it's like when you're saying about how we speak our words to heal or write our words to heal, what we're also doing is the people, when we sit down to write, I always set the intention, may this book reach the people it is meant to reach so that they can heal and grow in confidence and courage and deal with whatever they need to deal with. Oh, I just got goosebumps and a whole shiver go through me.
Oh, yes.
But the thing is, when someone reads a book, they can read it at their own pace and they can read it in private. They can make notes in the margin. For those of you who have seen Dirty Dancing will understand that reference. I did like that film.
Ditto.
But the thing is that when they've got that book and it's in paper and it's in their hands, it's almost like they open up a page and the words already start healing them. The fact that they choose to buy the book, it starts to heal them. They've taken that next step. And I remember after I had written Layla, the second book in the Sacral series, well, I felt the emotion come up there. I received this message from someone who has said, I just feel like I've just read my own story. And when you have messages from people that say that reading your book, I knew I wasn't alone. Reading your book has given me the courage to go forward. Reading your book has helped me start a business. Reading your book has helped save my marriage. When you write a book, you never know the impact you're going to have on someone's life, which is why I'm so determined to sell 1 million books this year. I want every single one of my books to sell 1 million copies, because the thing for me is when one person reads that book, the impact of 4, because there are normally 3 close friends that they have or 3 people that are really close to them that will be directly impacted. And then those 4 people will impact another 4 people. And we get to change and we get to heal generations of wounding from centuries gone by, generations gone by. We get to change the course of history. And what a beautiful legacy to know that even the chap that said you saved my marriage after my wife read your book. Really? How's that happen? And then they tell you their story. And you know that you've kept a family and you've reignited something within not just one person, but within a couple. And that family has gone on to stay together.
Yeah.
That impact on those children, the impact on the families of that couple. It's huge what we get to do. It's something that I don't take lightly either. I take it very seriously, what I do.
That's magic with a K in my book.
Yeah, and capital M.
And I get exactly what you mean about writing it's similar to me in why I want a podcast is I don't know who's listening. For me, this is a way to reach new audiences, for me to be able to connect with people that I don't know. And when you get those messages saying, I really love the content, you're keeping me on track, I'm learning how to do stuff.
Yep. Your podcasts are great.
It really fills you up because I don't know these people. It's not my auntie or my cousin or my best friend, that lives in another county going, yay, as cheerleaders, like you would expect them to. This is people all over the planet now. And
this is the thing, when we do this, it's not always our friends and family who will buy our books or listen to our podcast. It is complete random strangers who then become friends.
And isn't that great that you can share that? For me, this is to be able to share with as many people as I possibly can, because I have the time and the tools to be able to do that. To say, Dawn, tell us, what's going on with the Book Launch Academy? What are the plans? What's after that?
Once we've launched, we've got the 7-week author course is the first kickoff in beginning of March. So we've got the special offer on for your listeners. So that's launching the 7-week author course, which again is a standalone program that they can either buy module, they can either buy it in 2 parts, or they can buy it as a one-off thing. That's a distance learning. Or they can join like the live classes. There's a author mastermind series where we will get to meet twice a month for 7 months. There are bundles that I'm putting on this learning platform. And so there's that. But I'm going for 1 million learners, because if I'm going to go for 1 million readers, I want 1 million learners. Because if we can get 1 million books out there or 1 million books written, imagine how many people will feel seen and heard. Imagine the impact. And whether they write the book as a record of their family legacy, or whether they don't want to go on to publish in big grand scales, or whether they want to write a book as a healing journey. Or, for example, one of the things we do with a lot of the anthologies and a lot of our books. So, for example, with the Sacral series, because that's all about trauma and abuse and systemic corruption and what have you. What we then do is we reach out to organizations that are dealing with people, so like rape helplines or people that are dealing with like abuse, people that have been through abuse. And then we will then sell their books at a much reduced rate. So they can then sell the books to people within their network. And then the foundations and the charities and the organizations have an additional income stream. Again, it's like if you've got a women's network and you buy, say, for example, 100 copies of the Crossing the Line, I'll come and I'll speak for you for free. You can then sell the books to your network. You bought them at cost price, but sold them at a profit. So we're help. Again, being an author is an act of philanthropy, because you can actually help a lot of these organizations raise a lot of income for their foundation, for their charity, for their business network. It's just a very beautiful thing. And this is what the Author Academy is all about. It's about helping people understand all of these different concepts and what is actually truly possible.
I would go as far to say, Dawn, that you've almost overthought how many different options and ways there are to be able to make sure that you get that 1 million learners, to do it with you, without you.
Of course I have.
Yeah, there really is no excuse to...
There is no excuse.
Get on and
if you've got excuses that I don't want you in my space. This is the thing. I've always been like this. And I remember a guy from New Zealand read my book, Crossing the Line. And he sent me a message. He goes, I've just got one thing to say to you. And I was like, yes. And I was like, yes, ... He was like, thank you for the kick up the ass. I read your book and I wondered what on earth I've been doing with my life. He goes, just in that 3-year period, you achieved a lot more than I've achieved in 20 years.
There are some times in life, isn't there, where something happens that can really shake things up for you.
Yeah.
We've recently...
Don't call me the molecule shaker for nothing, Wendy.
the molecule mermaid. I like that. That could stick.
I do.
I could just see all those shimmery molecules on your mermaid costume.
You see me in a burlesque outfit.
It's like COVID, isn't it? When COVID hit, what's that, nearly 2 years ago now, or just over 2 years, when it actually sort of appeared in the world. And it made so many people say, oh my goodness, anything could happen tomorrow. I'm going to do something about it. And I wonder, out of those people that said that, how many of them actually did?
Probably about 1%.
Mm.
When you look at the amount of people that say, I'm going to write a book, 3% of those people on average write the book. Only 1% of that 3% then go on to publish the book. And then of that 1%, it floats between 1% and 3% of those 1% of the 3%, they actually go on to make a profit. Yeah, it's a bit of a brain.
I did kind of follow you with the maths. Yeah, it's a bit like that with podcasting, that there's like 2.7 million podcasts in the world, but there's only something like 350,000 active ones, which is over a 3-month period. And sometimes over a 3-month period, they could have only 6 episodes. So soon that number could like dwindle again. But then however many are launched every day, you know, the maths can sort of do your head in. Really.
Do your head in. They can. And that's the thing. It's like, if you say you want something and you don't do whatever it takes to make that happen, you don't want that thing. You don't want that experience, because if you did, you'd make it happen. I mean, everyone's like law of attraction. Well, you know what? I want a cup of tea. If I sit here and go, I want a cup of tea, I want a cup of tea, I want a cup of tea, the kettle's not going to boil itself, put a tea bag in it and bring it to me, is it? No, I've got to get up my backside and go make myself a cup of tea.
Yeah.
I can't say I want something if I'm not going to take the aligned action to make it happen.
Oh, I'm just thinking of Rob Begg. I don't know if you've heard the Rob Begg episode, but law of attraction works for some people. And I think it works for some people because that's where their mental ability is. And we all have different abilities. You know, it's like speaking, listening, watching, you know, how we consume stuff differs, doesn't it? But ultimately, we're here to experience life.
Yeah, we are.
And there's only ever going to be one person in charge of that.
We've got one life. We might live it several times over. We've got one life.
Yeah, go out and live. That's the message from that, isn't it? Go out and live and write about it, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Share your story. Again, whether that's through words that you write or words that you speak. I've been told so many times you need to make a film. And like, yeah, I know, like my books are going to be turned into TV, documentary and films. I have no doubt about that.
Can I be an extra?
And the thing is, the more I talk about it, the more people I'm introduced to, the more recommendations my books are getting, the more opportunities my book has of being turned into a film. I've already been speaking to one TV producer who absolutely loves it. She goes, it's too big a project for me, but go speak to this person. And so bit by bit, we've already got like the episodic range written out, the brief and whatever, like, and all of the stuff they want me, you know, like your podcast guest, like, sheet that you need to do, or my media sheet. You need to do these things.
Yeah.
And there's no point whinging and moaning about not having the results you want if you're not going to show up.
But you're learning a whole new process because you're into a whole new room in your world, really, aren't you? That's the same as, you know, people saying, oh, Wendy, you should do a podcast because you're great at audio. Well, that's fine. I might be great at audio and being able to hold a conversation, but learning to podcast was a different room with different processes. So if you want to do something, you've got to appreciate that there's going to be an element of growth and growing pains on the way.
Yeah. There's some serious growing pains. And I think there's a thing, people think that we get to this point. I mean, I've had so many people say to me, oh, it's all right for you. The minute I hear, oh, it's all right for you, I'm like, yeah, I'm switching off the rest of what you've got to say. My mum was a single mum. My mum's still waiting for me to get a proper job after all these years. I mean, I've been running my own businesses for 20 odd years.
Mrs. Bates, what does your daughter do?
Too much. She writes too much.
My mum would say the same.
But that's the thing. It's like, I grew up in a village of 200 people. My dad worked on the land. I'm the first entrepreneur in my family. I'm the first one to leave the 3-mile radius where all my family now live. I mean, I'm in Panama at the moment, about to cross the border into Costa Rica tomorrow. And I speak several different languages. And I sail around the world writing books. I've created this online business. And it's not because I was born, this is where my life was, all of what I've created. I've had to learn. I've had to break the money mindset things, like investing a certain amount of money. Oh my God. But for me, it's like, do I trust myself or not? If I invest 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, whatever the number is, do I trust myself that I'm going to make that money back? Absolutely. Because I'm either going to make it back in knowledge, I'm going to make it back in money, or I'm going to make it back in personal growth and actions taken. It's not just about a monetary return when we invest in something. It's about the skill sets that we gain. Like with the author course, as you said, like my 7-week author course, it's not just about getting the words written down. It is the whole business blueprint. My coach even said to me that, it's like an MBA you've written, Dawn, for authors. When I write a workbook, they all laugh at me like, yeah, it's proper workbook, isn't it, Dawn? I was like, yeah, it's proper workbook, 20 to 30 pages, and their activities. And each activity has lots of different exercises in it. There's stuff to write, there's stuff to read, there's stuff to research, there's stuff to plan and calculate and project and vision. And, it's not.
It goes back to, doesn't it, are you serious about this? Because if you're not serious about it, you're not going to do it.
No. If you're going to spend $2,000 on, let's just say $2,000 on a TV or whatever it is that people buy these days, and you're just going to sit there for hours looking at a rec. I mean, when I see a TV in a hotel room or in Airbnb, I put a sarong over the top of it. I don't want to see it. It's like a black hole of nothingness, and it just absorbs you and it wastes your time and it wastes your energy. And for me, I would rather be going after my dreams and living my dreams and achieving everything that I set out to do than wasting hours watching Netflix, getting everything ready for this documentary. I've had to watch documentaries. Okay, what makes that one more successful than this one? This is in the realm of human rights. Okay, who are the directors? Who are the producers? Who are the musicians? Who are, so I'm getting a dream team list. So all the documentaries that I really enjoy and that are doing really well on Netflix, I'm writing down all the names of all the people that are on that production team.
Yeah.
And then I will be emailing them. Okay, I've seen this, and I just had a message back from a producer in the UK after his documentary series, which was massive, 4 seasons on Netflix. Now him and I are in conversation. But that wouldn't have happened unless I'd have spent time, money,
effort,
and then had the confidence to reach out to him. And I wasn't born with this confidence.
No.
I was a shy girl. I had to take drama to come out of my shell.
I think that's the drive for the goal. And I would say that the way that I got into picking up the phone was because I was actually quite shy and lacking in confidence. That gave me a boundary. They couldn't see that I was actually bright pink from the neck up through my face when I was talking because I was really, really bricking it. But I could perform on stage at school because that was a release. Yeah, it was pretending to be something else, which stopped me from wallowing in the life that I had at the time. So
playing Aphrodite was amazing for me in the school production of Troy. Oh my God, I love that role. Playing Lady Macbeth was amazing. Powerful women, both of them that I played.
No.
And that was really powerful for me.
Cleaning Genie in Alibaba and the 40 Thieves with a bright pink lamb's wool top and a double 40, double D40. I was like,
you unleashed the magic into the world. That's so you. That is so you.
It was so comical. Honestly, I'd just walk on and the audience would just start falling about with laughter. That I had to wait for them so that I could deliver the lines.
Yeah, but you gifted so much to those people in that moment. And that's what people, they don't always recognize. And this is why when we work with people like you and me, when you're coaching them through their podcasting journey and you're helping them to get launched and figure everything out and get everything in place, whether I'm helping them get their story out of them and written and then published. It's those insights that we have, like you walking on stage, making people laugh, just being in that role. What a gift to give somebody, that much laughter that you couldn't even deliver your line. That is so healing on so many levels. And it's such a beautiful gift to give somebody. And when we get to reflect that back at people.
I'm sitting here with a great big smile on my face, almost like, sorry, Dawn, I've gone drifting off. I'd love to do that again. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to, I'm going back to Genie Land. I'm going to be a Genie one day. I'm going to put that down.
See, we can be very serious business women, but we can also be
deadly serious.
Like,
deadly serious.
Deadly serious. But we can have a giggle. And that's the thing. People say to me, oh, how do you always find giggles in the day? I'm like, because like a lot of the subjects that I write about, like Alpha, the 4th book in the Sacral series, that was entered in for an outstanding writing competition. When people have read it, they're like, oh my God, you write books. I mean, the Sacral series are 9 true stories, which I've had to write as fiction to protect identities. But the content is very heavy. But people are like, how do you keep so positive and giggle so much when you're writing about these subjects like female genital mutilation, rape within marriage, and things like this? And it's like, because I'm honored that these people shared their story with me and trusted me. But I'm also grateful for the fact that we get to share our story. We live in the best times now. I mean, people go, oh, you know, like life is really bad and like, oh, internet and all this. But it's like, look at what we can achieve. I'm in the Panamanian mountains I'm amazed the Wi-Fi has stuck this long, to be honest. Not that I'm putting it out there for you to cancel the universe. Thank you very much. But
that's this conversation we had.
It's like, oh my God,
logging in.
Where was I? I think I was in Colombia then. Every time I show up somewhere, I'm like, where are you now, Dawn? And I'm like, I don't really know. I woke up the other day going, oh, I've got to go to Panama. No, I'm not going to Panama. I'm in Panama. I'm like,
it's when you sent me a message going, I've made friends with Elon and we're off to Mars.
What do you mean you needed to be friends with Elon to get to Mars, Dawn? I thought you were already there. Living on all these alternative planets. But again, even looking at something like the planets, people say the sky is the limit. I'm like, no, it's not. Why would you limit yourself by saying that? The sky is not the limit. There are cosmoses and black holes and wormholes. Like, grab that Hessian-held skeleton mat and go for it. You know, the ones you used to get on the helter-skelter and the bumpy slides, and those Hessian. Just grab one of them and just go into the cosmos. See, go wild. Because if your sky's the limit.
Yeah, I'm back with Rob Begg. We're infinite. There are no boundaries. If you can imagine a boundary, you can't. There isn't one because it's in our consciousness.
Yeah.
Oh, I do listen, honestly.
We both do, Rob.
I need to ask you to share that one conversation that changed everything for you, your pivotal moment.
Oh, there have been so many. I remember, I think for me, as you've got crossing the line, choosing that moment of standing in my truth, of being given a bribe or presented with a plea bargain, i.e. a bribe by the lawyers in Scotland when I was falsely arrested and had my children taken off me and still to this day, I haven't been questioned, and you'll need to read Crossing the Line, listeners, to understand what went on. The lawyer said to me, if you admit to this and this, we'll let you off on this. Or if you admit to this, we'll let you off on these two. And I just looked at him and I said, I'm not accepting a bribe. They go, it's not a bribe. I'm like, kind of, it's a bribe. And I said to them, I would rather go to prison for telling the truth than lie and give truth to their lies and go free. Truth is our ultimate freedom, living in our truth. And they went back into the courtroom and they rejected the offer, the plea bargain. And I'm just at that point going, okay, I better win this now. Again, that's it. I drew a line in the sand. I declared I'd rather go to prison for telling the truth than go free for lying. And that's always been my thing. I've some people say, Dawn, you really just keep the truth hidden. I'm like, no, we've got to speak our truth. I could still be in prison right now if I had have lost that court case. I would still be in prison until 2029, I think. But I was determined to win, because they were not going to take my children away from me, keep my children away from me. My children are everything to me. And again, that's one of the reasons why what I'm doing now, I'm working my backside off to make sure that I'm creating a better world for my children. But I'm also leading them by example, because when I told my sons, boys, this is what's just happened in the courtroom today. And I told them I would rather go to prison for telling the truth than give truth to their lies by lying. And that would mean this: if I lose this court case now, this is what it means for our family. And my boys threw their arms around me and said, we love you, Mummy. And that's the thing, when you tell the truth and you step into your power, everything comes for you. And oh wow, it is a game-changing conversation.
Yeah, I don't think there's any bond any stronger than a mother's love.
Yeah, mess with my children, you mess with the wrong mama bear.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not only is it the feminine fire, the mama fire, but it's the Celtic fire and the Sagittarian fire, and I will come after you with everything I
see. And as a Libran, I would have to say that the balance of those scales have got to swing in favour of the truth. So it was never in doubt that you would win. It's in the one on his
it was in. It is, especially, I mean, I was in the courtroom on my 40th birthday. That was the final day of the court case. It took me 3 years to fight them and to win. And I remember standing in my in the hotel room that morning, in the Airbnb, going to the courtroom, like, happy birthday, Dawn, go win this. And I stood there, and I remember standing there waiting to hear everything. And the judge said not guilty on all charges. And my legs just went to complete jelly, and I was all by myself. And the big thing is, I was in that courtroom by myself. And if I'd have been found guilty, there would have been no one there to tell my boys I'd been found guilty, or how long I was being sent to prison, where I was going. I had to do all of that by myself. There was no one by my side. And this is the thing, because I've been by myself through so much, I don't want other writers or other people to feel that they are alone, which is why I do this author coaching. This is why I share the stories I do. So other people know they're not alone, so that there is somebody speaking their story, and there is somebody there that's got their back, and there is somebody who has got to the other side.
This is why I knew you had to come and talk to me, Dawn, is because you're not just another coach that helps authors. You've really lived a life.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
You're very
Thank you for the offer that you've given to the listeners as well. I know that we'll stick that in the show notes, and there's going to be special links on the website. Just reach out to Dawn. There's no telling where she's going to be in the world, but she will always have a conversation with you.
Always happy to have a conversation. Sorry to have cut you off while you were complimenting me. You can probably tell, I guess, thank you. I do appreciate them.
Dawn, we'll catch up soon, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Lots of love to you. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Whoa, that was a whirlwind of conversation, wasn't it, between Dawn and I? There was so much energy and magic with a kicking K. If you want to turn that dream into a reality and transform what's in your head into something that you can hold on to in your hands, then please do reach out to Dawn. Email her at hello@dawnbates.com. All the details are in the show notes. They're on our website, allthews.makingconversationscount.com. Just look up Dawn on there and you will find everything you need. Now, if there's one thing that I could really take away from that conversation with Dawn, is that investing in training helps you on so many levels. We are continually growing as people, and through that, it helps our business too. So there's no excuses. Go Find out that person that you need to help you succeed in that one thing that may be holding you back. And then let us know how you get on. Next time on Making Conversations Count, I'm joined by Coach Rob Cressy, who understands that the intentional words that we use creates power. And that's not just with the people around us. We're going to be making conversations with yourself count. Can't wait.
A dream is the day-to-day process and the journey of making the dream happen.